I describe what I see and record what I'm told, all with the aim of providing a better understanding of why these things occur. Look for me to introduce you to many sites. It is humbling, looking at these It was home to great warriors and heroes. In many, this tour will take. I hope you enjoy.
The Mycenaean civilization. During this period, Mycenaean, notably, they battled, but the Mycenaeans, they learned such. They also tell. The entrance to Agamemnon's citadel, or the Lion Gate. It is impressive for both its height. Unfortunately, the gate was most like. When these shafts were discovered by, he believed the gold-filled graves to be, even going so far as to proclaim. However, the graves later became. By 1250 BC, houses to the nearby. At one, the people who lived inside. This is reflected by the ceramic at. A traveler seeking it here. When the vivid, it's. It was in this coaster.
You've complete. Though it's now. Then which? Yeah, now Agamemnon keep. Yes, now what was the name? If he had. Correct. You. Welcome to Amphipolis. The two generals. In the end, though, look.
The land that would come to be known Thrace. By 530, it was only in... During the Peloponnesian War, Brasidas knew that many of the Greeks he set up at Amphipolis' rampart in this. Brasidas' march on Amphipolis by the after half an in spot. The politician Nikki. However, the indecision continued. The truce was ended, and Cleon began his journey to Amphipolis, retaking small towns that... On arriving at the port of Aeon, he also afterwards... While they waited, the Athenian forces began to resent this sense. To Cleon's surprise. Even so, upon seeing this, Cleon regretted that he did not bring... Brasidas positioned his own troops in a nearby wooded area to get a better view of Cleon's army. When the Athenians began moving to set up camp, Brasidas returned to Amphipolis. He believed his army was less well-trained than the Athenians and decided to rely instead on cunning tactics and Cleon's inexperience as a military leader. Brasidas organized a two-pronged attack. He would personally lead a small raid, then one of his lieutenants would follow up with a second after, disorienting the enemy. He had barely finished. The display made Brasidas realize that perhaps victory would... After seeing Brasidas' troops return to Amphipolis, Cleon decided to fall back to the port of Aeon and once again wait for reinforcements. Unfortunately, his exact orders were confusing and contradictory, which left the Athenian forces in disarray. Brasidas took advantage of this confusion and began his attack. Cleon's forces panicked, which made them easy prey for the Spartans. 600 Athenians were killed, while the Spartans only lost 7 men. Cleon's remaining forces took refuge in Aeon, where the bodies of their comrades were eventually returned to them, though only after being stripped of their weapons. During the pitched battle between the Spartans and the Athenians, both Brasidas and Cleon were killed. The reports of their respective deaths reflect how they were perceived as military leaders. We know almost nothing about Cleon's death, other than that he was killed by a Thracian soldier. Brasidas, meanwhile, survived long enough to be taken back to Amphipolis, where he was informed of his victory. He was buried inside the city, which was considered an honor bestowed only upon heroes, and was celebrated as the true founder of Amphipolis. The Battle of Amphipolis temporarily put an end to the hostilities between Athens and Sparta. The Athenian forces returned to Piraeus, while Sparta called back the reinforcements. The death of both. The negotiations took time. There was throughout. The sentiment was rooted in the fact that Sparta had failed to end Athens' domination.
I see you're done with your tour. The Battle of Amphipolis may have briefly put an end to the Peloponnesian War, but the so-called Peace of Nikias was only temporary. It would not be long before Sparta and Athens came to blows once again. Now, is there something else you'd like to do? Feeling up to a test? Then let us begin. Which Athenian politician wanted... Correct. Now for the... Where did... Yes, I have one... Amphipol... No. It's... You're...
Welcome, visitor, to Thermopylae. My name is Leonidas. I am a king of Sparta. But do not think me some idle aristocrat softened by luxury. When Spartans go to war, I stand alongside them shield to shield. And my spear tastes the same blood as those of my men. Thermopylae stirs many feelings in my heart. Rage at the Persians' arrogance. Regret that I could not do more. But mostly, I feel proud. Proud of my city, and of my men, who fought to protect the very soul of the Spartan people. For those few fateful days, they were my brothers. I miss them all. Thermopylae was where a courageous group of Spartans stood amongst other Greek soldiers and held off the forces of King Xerxes, the Persian. When you're done, find me and we'll speak more.
The Persian king Darius's cries of rage, even after Darius's death, according to East Greek spies brought the news. In the end, the Greeks decided also offered naval advance. 5,000 Pelop leading them was Leonidas was a The Persian army arrived in the summer of 480 BCE, preceded by a flood of rumors regarding their strength and numbers. It was claimed they consumed 6,000 tons of wheat during their march to Thermopylae. According to Herodotus, he estimates the Greek force. Xerxes believed that at the site instead, Leonidas meanwhile, while the Greek force he returned to not only with a to increase the pressure, the Persians faced heavy resistance the following day. The Persians seemed poised to be held at Thermopylae indefinitely. A Persian contingent was sent while there were. Thus, on the third day, with the Persians both in front of and flee most the few and the Spartans last had they not hold off the